The way my mother tells it, Uncle Aubrey wasn't always this gone, except for being scared of garbage trucks, which supposedly runs in our family, my father said. Uncle Aubrey's my father's only brother, not counting Uncle Roy, who happened into our family when he was no more than 12. I don't know how Roy got here or who might have lost him. I can only say for sure that nobody's ever come looking. Ma hates me going over on account of me being too young to understand what's what. And though she never gets around to saying so, I know it's got everything to do with that picture on the wall. Just above Uncle Aubrey's sink and stuck on with Scotch tape is the only photograph I ever seen of my father. Figured it taken the day he left, maybe the very minute. His face all perfect and good and ready to go wherever we weren't. I try not looking at it so much, scared my eyes will soak up the ink. That one day there'd be nothing left but a blank piece of paper stuck to a greasy wall near a Chinese fortune saying, if you can't decide up or down, try moving across. And beside that, a map showing which street has garbage pickup on whichever day of the week. Aubrey that's scared of accidentally seeing or hearing one, though he barely leaves the house anymore. Even Uncle Roy is careful to say where he's been, except for Murdoch's pet shop, where Roy helps out 3 days a week and run by Frank Jr. Roy calls Aubrey the fixer-upper, calls himself a do-gooder, calls Frank Jr. champ on account of Frank Jr. making all-state finals back in high school. Same year Roy made the team. Something Roy goes on about every chance he gets. And Frank Jr. hearing it every single time like he didn't already know it word for word. Like he didn't already know every single thing there was to know about Roy. Which, as it turns out, he didn't. Fact is, nobody knew what Roy'd been doing. How he one day took to sneaking goldfish down Aubrey's basement, dumping them 2 or 3 at a time in whatever he could find. And nobody knowing nothing till Roy one day slips on some water. And especially not Frank Jr., who'd come to get Roy out of there. All the time, this look on his face like he'd never seen so many fish, and Frank Jr.'s seen a lot of fish. A lot of fish. They get sold by the tens. 10 fish for 10 cents, 20 for 20. Never figuring Roy to be sneaking them out to the tune of 10 or 20 at a time, he figured, and not just once in a while. Said he sold the small fish as fish food for the big fish. Said he told Uncle Roy about survival of the fittest, never thinking Roy'd take that to meaning however many could fittest his lunchbox. Which is how he took to rescuing them one day at a time. Sometimes 1 fish, sometimes 3, sometimes bunches. Till Roy's got more fish in Aubrey's basement than a dog's got fleas. To this day, Frank Jr. never speaking one word of the stolen fish. Everything stayed pretty much how it was before Roy slipped his way to the hospital. The same hospital Aubrey took Rita soon after. All I know about Rita is what Uncle Aubrey told me, how she and him were soulmates, which when I told Ma said exactly how much souls it take to sell yourself for heroin. Aubrey called her a diamond in the rough, figured he could fix her good as new should she ever come and let him, which she did. She just stood there, skinny lips clamped onto a cigarette butt like it was part of her face. What she wore was too long to be a t-shirt and too short to be what she was using it for, which is how I came to seeing the bruises all up and down her legs, and how I came to knowing that except for her t-shirt, Rita was naked everywhere else. Everywhere. Uncle Aubrey dragged her inside while spewing about how Roy couldn't find out she'd been there on account of Roy not appreciating Rita's attributes, which I guess to be something of a personal nature.
Can you smell it? She puked in the trash, Roy.
Sure as heck, Uncle Roy went off about Rita's stink in the house, while Aubrey went on about Rita being sick, went so far as to say she'd shat in her pants and puked in the trash, and Uncle Roy claiming to know the difference between garbage and trash, and me wondering what in heck anyone was talking about. It wasn't the first time Rita went into the hospital on account of heroin, but the first time she'd gone in and not come out. Uncle Aubrey swore it was him who killed her, said that when asked if Rita had something called a DNR, he took it to meaning Daughters of the American Revolution, meaning she'd get some fancy burial instead of a concrete slab should she not come out of her coma. Which she didn't. Uncle Aubrey was stuck on Rita's soul, needing someplace decent to rest. Decent turning out to be a small yellow bird from Frank Jr.'s pet shop. He named her Lemon Lime. Roy figured he'd get one too in case Rita missed. A blue-colored bird he called Heaven, where he figured Rita go should she ever burn clean in purgatory. Thing is, I don't get why two people getting birds in honor of a person never came to naming them for that person, like with me and Dugan. Dugan, who cost me half my allowance before his bull finally caught one of my tosses. Dugan, whose name I whispered like a secret. Dugan, same as my own name, same as Aubrey's and Gramps', only it wasn't them he was named for. I couldn't stop watching him. I figured he could just as easily be somewhere doing the same as me. I started loving Dugan so much it got so I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't know how to love a thing that many days in a row. Inside my brain, there was another brain, 'cause all the time I'm thinking how I love Dugan more than anything. My other brain had thoughts of its own. It got so I couldn't sleep anymore. Couldn't tell which brain was right and which was wrong. Couldn't see no other way but to do what I did. And so how I came to setting Dugan free. All in all, it's just a whole lot easier missing him. I never gave it much thought until seeing all those fish in Uncle Aubrey's basement, which started me to wondering how Roy could stand so many things counting on his being there. How he could stand not knowing when they would die, because they would, like Dugan, who no matter what will never know I flushed him because I loved him too much. It was a few weeks after Lemon Lime and Heaven arrived that someone came pounding on Uncle Aubrey's door early one morning. Which wouldn't have been such a big deal except that Aubrey believed it was Rita, and pounding so hard there was blood on the door, only Aubrey already scrunched in a closet on account of a garbage truck whining from somewhere close by, meaning whoever was pounding was pure out of luck. Even the thought it was Rita, Rita his soulmate, Rita fresh out of purgatory, Rita looking for someplace to rest, still wasn't enough to pry Aubrey from out that closet. Soon after the night of the pounding, Uncle Aubrey started disappearing. Not how my father disappeared, but by staying exactly where he was. Good as gone since that night, the night Rita come looking for lemon lime. Couple months it was before I saw Roy out front the pet store. Him telling Frank Jr. how Aubrey's condition was on account of a bad tooth. How when he finally got the rotted stump yanked free, a little more happy gas got into him than should have. The poison gone clear to his brain. Frank Jr. said, could be. Could be like putting down a dog too stubborn to die. Still alive, but with only half a brain on account of it not getting what it needed. Said how a half-minded dog could forget where it was, forget what it used to know, except for some things that don't make sense, like with Aubrey, still afraid of garbage trucks and everything else forgotten. Like why?
Santa Maria, Santa Teresa, Santa Anna, Santa Susanna, Santa Cecilia.
Before everything that's happened, I never thought much of being scared. Never noticed how much room it took up. 2, I didn't know being scared of something could decide what another person was scared of. Like someone pounding on the door of someone too scared to answer. Now 2 people scared. Or maybe scared isn't something that happens to a person, but rather it's something that's in your blood. Like leaving. A part of who you are until one day there's no difference between you and the thing you're afraid of. Between you and what's missing. Just a matter of how much room is left for anything else.
Oh, a man is placed upon the steps and a baby cries. High above you can hear the church bells start to ring. And as the heaviness, oh, the heaviness, the body settles in. Somewhere you can hear a mother sing. Then it's one foot, then the other, as you step out on the road. Step out on the road. How much weight, how much? Then it's how long and how far and how many times. Oh, before it's too late. Call all angels, call all angels. Walk me through this one, don't leave me alone. Call all angels, call all angels. We're trying, we're hoping, but we're not sure how. Oh, and every day you gaze upon the sunset with such love and intensity. It's almost as if you could only crack the code, then you'd finally understand what this all means. Ah, but if you could, do you think you would trade it all?